Everybody, thanks for joining this video today. I wanted to start a series of videos that discuss some of the more commonly asked questions I see as it relates to sports cards, whether it's at a sports card show or an online sports card website or a Facebook card group. And this first video is going to discuss what is my card worth. Now, as you see on the screen, this is a sports card price guide. And going back many years ago, into the 90s especially, and this is before the real rise of eBay to what it is today, collectors and dealers alike would use this book right here as their guide to give them an idea of what sports cards were worth. And you can see that it goes back to the teens and 20s, 30s and 40s, and it would go right up to current day. You'd be able to look up a specific year and set of really any card, and you'd be able to find out what this price guide told you the card was worth. And at the time, this is what people would actually refer to when they were pricing their cards. So you knew that, someone was being fair if their price kind of was in line with what the price guide said. Now, of course, what happened over time is eBay became as big as it is now, and people would be able to find out what cards were selling for, and a lot of times that didn't match up with what the price guide said. And of course, like anything in life, the true value of anything is what somebody will pay for it. So this printed price guide became really an unnecessary item, and even though it is still printed today, a lot of times the prices will be dramatically different as far as what they're selling compared to what they are in the price guide. Of course, you still do find some really cool articles. You'll see things like box breaks, where they'll go ahead and open boxes of new product and they'll give you a review of what they get, and you'll see things like that. You'll see some really cool stories that collectors can send in, and they'll talk about maybe their kids getting a really cool autograph pull or a really cool story where they put a set together and things like that. So there are still reasons to look forward to the monthly release of these price guides, but as far as actually referring to this when you're trying to figure out a price for a card or you're pricing your own cards, it's very much a thing of the past. So obviously you're wondering, well, okay, so how do I find that out? And before I get into this, one of the things I'll say, and one of the reasons why I'm actually doing this series of videos, I've noticed a lot lately, especially since the last couple of years when the interest in sports cards really took off, that there are a big flux of new collectors. And as a result, there's a lot of people who are maybe going out and buying a box of cards for the first time, or they were handed down cards, or they could go to a flea market or a yard sale and somebody might find some really cool cards and really valuable cards too. But I see more and more that when someone asks, what is this card worth, either people are sarcastic and they don't really want to help, because people will say it's very easy to search online and find out what a card is worth, or people will downplay the value of a card because they want to buy that card from the person who posted it. So it is a lot of times difficult for someone who isn't familiar with the tools that are out there to get that true value of a card. So I want to do that today, and I want to show you. You can see on the screen there's a lot of card apps that you can download. Some of them are free, some of them do make you pay either a monthly or a yearly fee to use them. The Collects app that you see, the second one down here on the screen, if you've ever been to a card show and you see someone hovering their phone over a card or cards in a case and it looks like they're taking pictures, that's probably the app that they're using. What that app does is it lets you take a picture of a card, and then it's able to pull from their database and give you an idea of what comparable cards have sold for. And then as you look through, you'll see some of these other ones that are really good. Market Movers is a big one. You probably see the videos that Jeff posts. And there's collectibles.com. Card Ladder. Card Ladder is probably my favorite one. It does require you to pay a monthly fee. You can either pay per month or you can pay for the entire year. These apps, if you're going to get into these and use them, I would only really recommend paying for them if you're either looking to make this kind of a secondary source of income, or it's something that you're going to get more serious about and use. Obviously, the more that you use it and the more that it's benefiting you to use it, that's reason for you to pay, and they really do end up paying for themselves, especially if you're say out and looking at a card in a display case at a card show, and you think you're interested in buying it, but you don't know, is $500 a really good price, or is this maybe something I can negotiate because the last sale is, say $450 on a card, and you might be able to talk that price down a little bit based on what the comparable sold listings say. So these are a couple ones that I would recommend, downloading on your phone. For the most part, these will have a free trial for at least a week. So you can go ahead and maybe download a few of these apps and then go around to a show and just kind of try them out. Get a feel for it and see if you like it. And depending on how the layout is, maybe it's something that you want to invest in. And especially if you find it easy and fun to use, it might even incentivize you to get into the game more and really start buying and selling cards, which can be a great time, can be very profitable. So check these out for sure. So those are some of the apps that you can use, and like I said, kind of trial and error. Use them, see if you like them. And if you're someone who says, well, I'm not really ready to invest in an app, I don't really want to spend the money yet, I would like to just see what I can find for free, what's out there that I don't have to pay for. This is a website that is completely free. They also just put out a mobile app. You can see it right up at the top of the screen there. And this is definitely the best free source that I found when you're trying to find sold listings on cards and find out what this card is selling for, especially recently. Now, when you're using eBay, obviously eBay is the easiest way to go in and just punch a card, punch a set, anything that you're looking at, and you can go to completed listings and see what that card or whatever that item is selling for. The problem with that is that when you go to completed listings on eBay, you're only getting the last 30 days of sales. So with this website, they're not only pulling in eBay listings, they're also pulling in PWCC, Heritage Auctions, Golden, Pristine Auctions, and MySlabs. And those are pulling in sales for whatever you're looking for. So you're going to get all these marketplace options, and you're going to be able to find out what that card is sold for recently. So if we go ahead right under quick links and where it says marketplace data, we're going to click on that, and that is going to bring up some options for us. So this first line to the right of the magnifying glass here, this is where you're going to be able to punch in the name or the set that you're looking for, and then underneath that, it's going to have you defaulted to the most recent sales. If you're looking for the highest price of a card or the oldest sales, you can also change it to that. And then down below there, it's going to be defaulted to sold items. You can change that to items for sale if maybe there's a specific card that you're looking for and you want to know if any of those marketplace options currently have that for sale, whether it's in a Golden auction or at PWCC or MySlabs or any of the other marketplace options they have. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you guys how to go ahead and find out what cards are selling for, and we will click right next to that magnifying glass. And because it's one of the more popular cards that's out there right now, we'll go ahead and use CJ Stroud Downtown as our example. So once we type in CJ Stroud Downtown, we'll click on submit. And what that's going to do is that's going to bring up the most recent sales of that card from all those marketplace options that we saw before. And if you scroll through, it's going to give you raw options, it's going to give you graded options, it's going to give you all of those listings that have sold, whether it's best offer, it's going to tell you if it was actually sold on bids, and it's going to tell you where it was sold at. Now, this is an important thing that I want to really point out to everybody, is that a lot of times, especially if you're a new collector, you won't realize that even though a card looks the same, there are some small things that are different about it, and it really can greatly affect the price. So say that you've never bought a box of cards before and you're in, say, a local Target, and you went ahead and you bought a blaster box of regular Donruss football. Now if you did that and you were lucky enough to pull a CJ Stroud Downtown out of the regular Donruss product, you might pull this card right here. And up in the top right corner, it's got that Donruss logo, and you can see that the back of the card is shiny and has that particular design there. Now, if you were to pay more money and buy a box of Donruss Optic, and you were lucky enough to hit a downtown of CJ Stroud, you'd see that this card here is different. It's got the laser design in the background, and in the top right, it's got the Optic logo. Now, obviously, this can greatly change the value of that card. You see that a 9.5 of the regular Donruss Stroud Downtown card sold for $1,425 at auction, whereas the Optic version of the same card sold for $2,500. Now, that's going to be because the Optic cards are a lot more money, and it's considered a higher end product, so that is rare to pull, and the regular Donruss one is as well. It's just not considered the same card. A little bit different because of the design. You can also see that this top option, the last one that sold, is from the Donruss Clearly product. So one thing you want to make sure is that when you're looking up a card, if you know that you have the Optic version of that, or say you're at a sports card show, you want to make sure that you're looking at the right card. So be sure to add as many details as you can. Say you're looking at a PSA 9 version of the Optic Downtown, you go ahead and type that in, and then it's going to narrow down what it shows you, as you can see here. So this is definitely one of the more valuable websites that they have right now, and as I said before, they do have an app that they just introduced recently, and that is 130point.com. So if you just type in 130point.com, you'll be able to go here, and you'll have all of these marketplaces right at your hand, all the sales data for those, and it's a really great tool. So what I want to do now is I want to leave the bottom comments open, and if anybody has any questions that they would like answered, if you have a specific card you're wondering the value of, or if there's a question that you have about the hobby that you'd like to see a video made for, go ahead and comment that down below. Like the video, subscribe, and I'll be sure to either get back to you right away, or I'll try to put a video out that answers your question. Thank you guys for tuning in. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.